She has to know what's up. Like, you always have to ask yourself, if suddenly we're both transported in a room where we're both like, there's a bed and we're isolated, would it make sense for me to throw on the bed and fuck her? Or would she be thinking, what the fuck are you doing? If she would be thinking, what the fuck are you doing? You're not clear, do not do this. But if she's be thinking, oh, of course it makes sense, then you can do this. I had this one student, it was in Los Angeles on boot camp, okay? So he's making out with this solid 9. Okay, now this is Hollywood 9. It's like, well, you guys are from Sweden, you have really, really hot girls too, but she's like stunning, okay? He's making out with her in the club, like on the side of the dance floor, and it is on. It's like fully on. And I'm just watching, I'm like, yep, it's all good. And at some point, this other girl runs in, grabs her, yanks her out, and says, fuck off the student, and drags her to the bar. And it turns out it was her sister. Okay, so her sister ran in, told the student to fuck off, yanked her to the bar. He comes back to me, he's like, damn it, I lost the girl. Okay, and that's what most guys would do. It's like, damn it, I lost the girl. It's like, no, think outside the fucking box. Okay, now the sister's in. How do you do it? Okay, so I tell him, like, look, they're buying shots right now. Let's wait till the sister turns towards the bar to pay, and as soon as she turns her back, I want you to run in, pick up the girl you're making out with, and bring her to the outside area. Okay? So he waits, and the sister turns to pay. So she's like paying with the bar, turns her back to the other sister. He swoops in, poof, picks her up, runs outside. Okay? Now this takes care of the sister, because now the sister finishes paying, she has the shots, she turns around, dance floor. There's nothing else. She just sees dance floor, okay? So she's like, oh, where's the sister? So we go outside, and there's like a group, there's like the other students with some other girls. I'm like, look. I come in, I'm like, look, we're all going to the after party. You guys should come. They're all going, and she looks, and there's like tons of guys, tons of girls. So like, oh, well, it's not just me. There's other girls, there's other guys. Oh, it's a whole after party. Awesome. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to grab Sarah. Now, there is no Sarah. I'm just saying Sarah to add another girl name. She's like, oh, there's also Sarah who's coming. It's not just me. So I'm just going to grab Sarah. But why don't you guys just go ahead and we'll meet you there. Take a cab, we'll meet you there. I'm just going to grab Sarah. And then I whisper to the student, take her to your hotel room now. And of course, then woof, they leave the club. Okay? Now think outside the box. Now by doing this so many times, I know exactly what's going to happen. Okay? The sister's going to see the friend's gone, and after a while of walking around the club, not finding her, she's going to call the friend. Okay? So that's a sister's situation. In terms of the girl, she's good to go. Okay? She's like, oh, clear in the intent, they were making out, there's that physical compatibility, it's man to woman, he took care of the sister, there's the after party, so it's not going to go fuck. Other girls are there for social proof, all good, and plus he's leading towards the cab. So she's good. Now the sister, though, is going to call. So I quickly text him, disable her phone. Okay? And as soon as he gets that text, her phone starts ringing, and guess who it is? The sister. Okay? And she's like, oh, the sister's calling. And he's like, oh, look, let me text her the address of the after party, and turns it off. And of course, okay, think outside the box, think outside the box. And then of course he brings her back to his hotel, sleeps with her, and then spends the whole next day with her. Okay, whole next day, it's like it's fully on. But you had to think outside the box to make it happen. What I always say is, first of all, okay, you have to be clear in what's the worst that can happen. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? Because people hear this like, well, he tricked her. He tricked her. It's like, no. Say she gets to his hotel, because here again, she spent the whole night and spent the whole day with him too the next day. So it was on. But say she gets to his hotel and she freaks out. She's like, well, where's the after party? Okay, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, there's no after party. Let me pay for your cab back to the club. That's the worst. She gets in the cab and goes back to the club. Is it that bad? Oh my God, she has to, a free cab ride back to the club. It's really not that bad. And when you ask yourself too, what the fuck is an after party? What is it? Is there a definition, like there needs to be tons of people, music and DJs? It's like, no, an after party is just like a party that's after. And what's a party? It's just like, it's there you are. Okay? There is no real after party and there's no real repercussions. Okay? And when doing this too, I always say like, try for what you want and then calibrate after. Okay? So say he's trying to bring her in the cab, or say he takes the phone and he turns it off. Okay? If he takes the phone, turns off, and say there's real resistance, or say he's trying to bring her in the cab and she's like, no, and there's like real resistance, then stop. Okay? But why not try and see what happens? Try, and as soon as you get the resistance, then stop. But at least you tried. Okay? You went for what you wanted. You think outside the box. And this is one of the skills and one of the muscles you need to develop. Okay? 100%. Like think outside the box. Another example, New York. Okay? It was there's this club where there's like 3 floors, and there's like an outside like rooftop area. Okay? And it's also on boot camp. So there's 2 girls, okay, one who's hot and one who's like just really very unattractive, okay? And I walk in, I throw my friend on the girl, and the student's talking to the hot one, okay? And then he just isolates her to the side, okay? This is something you always want to do, just like separate them, okay? Don't go from like, if you're with your wingman on 2 girls, don't be like the 4-way conversation, try to get it on a 2-on-2 as soon as possible. So he turns them away, and then he isolates her on the side, and he's sitting down talking to the girl. And we're like, just like joking around with the unattractive friend. And at some point, I just throw her on some random dude. I'm like, oh, dude, girl. And he's like, like just talks to the girl. And we're all like laughing, like have fun, bro. And at some point, it's time to pull. So I go up to Sue. I'm like, okay, bring her home. Okay, do what I told you, bring her home. And he's like, okay, you know what? Let's go to my place and after party. So he tells the girl, after party. Let's go. And she gets up. And of course, what's she going to say?
My friend is here.
Where's my friend? Okay. Now, we already knew that. And I knew that, again, from all these experiences. So I know she's going to say it. So I'm like, okay, go. And as soon as I tell him to pull her, I go towards the other guys. I'm like, okay, make a wall here and hide the friend behind us. So we all stand in a wall. So of course, when the girl stands up, she's like, where's my friend? She doesn't see her because all the students and me are standing in front, just like, oh, pretending to talk like that, while she's talking to some random dude in the background. Now, obviously, they're going to walk around a bit, okay? And he's not necessarily leading as much as he should be right now, so he's kind of like walking with her, like, oh, well, she's looking for the friend, as we like slowly like move in a circle to like hide the friend. And then at some point he leaves the girl, he comes back. He's like, yeah, she can't find her friend. I can't really pull. I'm like, dude, okay, think outside the box. Tell her this, okay? Because she saw her unattractive friend talking to one of the boot camp students earlier, okay? So I'm like, okay, tell her this. Tell her your friend is with my friend, and they're downstairs. He just texted me that we should come and join them downstairs. Okay, do you guys get this? He goes up to the girl, and he says, look, your girlfriend who we're looking for is with my friend, and he's downstairs. So come with me downstairs to find her. Okay, so it's like it gets her one step closer to the door. Don't think too far ahead. It's like, okay, what to get her closer to the door? Door's downstairs. How to get her downstairs? Tell her friend's with your friend, and you just got texted. She's like, oh, really? And she looks around again, and she's like, okay, and they walk downstairs. Now, I know as well that on a Saturday night in New York at that club, to go up to the rooftop, it gets very packed very fast. And I know at that time it's so packed that there's a line to get upstairs to the rooftop. And as soon as you walk down those stairs, you have to wait 30 minutes in line to get back up. Okay? So once the girl walks down with him, if she wants to go back to find her friend, she has to wait 30 minutes in the line. Okay? So it gets her down, and it's like more leverage on her part to bring her home. So of course when he's down, all he has to say is like, oh, I don't know where they are. I don't know. I thought he was right here. He told me he was right here. Oh, and just blame the guy. Don't blame yourself. Blame the guy. It's like, well, oh, now we have to wait 30 minutes to go back upstairs. Oh, this sucks. You know what? Let's go after party, have a drink. We'll be right back in 20 minutes. I live around the corner. And pulls the girl. Okay? He pulls the girl. What's the worst that can happen here? Oh, I don't want to go to the after party. And she just waits in line 30 minutes. Big deal. Wait in line 30 minutes. Big deal. Okay? Think outside the box to make it happen. And of course, the girls are not looking at this logically like, oh, he said this. They're looking at the emotions like, yes, it's on, it's on. And she wants you to make it happen. She wants you to make her feel comfortable with the situation. Okay? She wants you to make her feel comfortable. If you're like, let's go fuck, she's not going to feel comfortable because if she says yes, she might seem like a slut to you. If you don't take care of the friends and the friends are there, she's not going to want to, for example, kiss you necessarily in front of the friends because she might seem like a slut. Okay? So you need to make her feel comfortable and really think outside the box to make her feel comfortable. 100%. The same, for example, with getting a girl on the phone. Okay? I get this all the time. Okay? Guys will talk to a girl. It's going super well. And of course, like whatever she's thinking is always associated with what she's feeling. So in the moment, like say she's talking to you, it's like, fuck yeah. You're like, hey, can I have your number? She's feeling super outgoing. She's like, yeah, here's my number. And then the next day when she wakes up, she's kind of like out of it. Like say she's hungover, she had a few drinks. You're calling her, hey, do you want to hang out? What she's thinking is now associated to, and she's like, no, I don't want to hang out. And she flakes just because what she's feeling is not aligned. So a good way if that happens is to get her back on the phone and bring that same self to the surface. Okay, bring that adventurous self that gave you the number in the first place. Okay, and if she's not feeling it, she's usually not going to answer the phone. Think outside the box. How do you get her to answer the phone? I was in New York with Todd. You guys know who Todd is? Yeah. I was in New York with Todd. We were running boot camp, and he had all these old numbers from like a month ago in New York. Okay, he probably had like 20 or 30 numbers, and we're like, you know what? Let's just text them all. So this is like a month later. So the first thing I was text, like, is just like, oh, what are you doing tonight? So we just mass text, what are you doing tonight? Okay? And some didn't answer. Some were like, some remembered him, like maybe one or two remembered him. They're like, oh, you know, I'm this, this, this. And most of them were like, who is this? Okay, who is this? Now, if you call after who is this, she's probably not going to answer. Okay, she wants you to text back because who wants to answer a stranger? It could be anyone. Okay, if you have an unknown number and you're a girl, it could be some creepy fucking guy. And now you have to do the polite hang up. You're like, oh, I don't really want to answer. So you just text her. He's like, you know what, Todd. That's it, Todd. Okay, the mindset I really takes for texting is just like, you're the guy on top of the mountain. You already have the 10 girls. You're not gonna be like massive explanation because you're too invested. You're like, well, you know, we met 30 days ago, and it's like just too much. It's like, oh, Todd. Like you assume she knows you. Now some would be like, oh, Todd, what's up? And text back. Some are like, Todd who? We're like, I don't know any Todd, like what the fuck? And if you call her then, of course she's not going to answer. So how do you think outside the box to get her to answer? We mass text them all 3 words. Such a slut. That's it. So it goes like, Todd, who? Pff, such a slut. Send. Okay? Now, when she gets this, some will be like, haha, like they'll laugh, and then you can just text them, aren't you pissed I'm calling you a slut? And she's like, oh, it gets pissed off. But they're going to be like, what the fuck? Like that's the response you get, like, what the fuck, or like question marks. So like, okay. But it's like, what the fuck? And then once you get that what the fuck question, if you call them, of course they're going to answer because they're going to want to know why you're calling them a slut. Okay? If they're like, what the fuck? And then you just call, they're like, why do you call me a slut? And oh, I'm just kidding. Anyway, what are you doing tonight? And now you got her on the phone. Okay? Now you got her on the phone. It's like thinking outside the box like that. Okay? Seeing the mechanics behind it. Okay? And really don't think too far ahead. Like, oh, such a slut. How is that going to affect what's happening after? It's like, no, it's just to get her on the phone. Oh, the after party is just to get her outside of the club. Then you deal with the next excuse after, and you really develop this. Okay? You really develop like really thinking outside the box and doing like anything. Okay, it's like the same with like guys, like how do I pull to her place? Find any reason. I remember I pulled a girl, it was in the Roosevelt Hotel. She stayed at a room, and I'm like, oh, do you have vodka? She's like, yeah, we have like cherry vodka. I'm like, really? Cherry vodka? I never tried the cherry vodka. Let's go, can I just try the cherry, just one shot of cherry vodka? Can I please try it? I never tried it. I always wanted to. There's an excuse to go to the room. Okay? Oh, cherry vodka. If she lives at her place, you can be like, you know what, it looks pretty dangerous. Can I just walk you home? Let me just walk you home. I want to make sure you get home safe. Then you get to our place. Oh, can I just use your bathroom real fast? Oh, and just like you're in, okay? Or like, oh, do you have a computer? Do you have internet? Oh, cool. Can I just check that? Oh, what about this? Do you have drinks? Like, find any reason, okay? Any reason at all. And you can always be like, too. She's like, can I walk you home? She's like, no, you can't. It's, I just met you. I'd prefer if I go home on my own. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I think I'm going the same direction anyway. I'll just walk a bit because it's even. And then that's just to start walking. And then later on, you just joke around. It's like, you know what? Do you have vodka? And like try to find any reason. Like, baby step it there, okay? But really think outside the box.